Hello everybody and welcome back to the Australian Grand Prix. No, this is not the start of a new season like it was last season, season number 10, the season 11 Australian Grand Prix. And through this very short season, in my opinion, short season for F1 Sub, it is season 11 Australian Grand Prix with 14 drivers today. My name is Alan Cavagnero and I'm joined alongside Nick as well. How you doing, Nick?
Yes, good to be here in Australia. Always a good track to go racing. Usually at the start of the season, but round 5 here tonight. So looking forward to seeing what these prestige drivers can do after both Podium and Pinnacle, which is still live, putting on some good shows for us at F1 TS Hub tonight.
Yep, as we go through the standings, like we said, 14 drivers today with 10.5 minutes remaining. Drivers such as Mally Odoms, MLA, Sean, Malloy, Beastaz, Luis, Kian, Switchy, James Later, Tempfier, Julian, Charles, which is Flair, and then there's It's Heskey Time. So, again, 14 drivers today. Black Mumbai, we were waiting on him, and that's why the time is delayed for the start. However, he was unable to join us. So, 14 drivers for today as we approach Albert Park for the Australian Grand Prix. And now down to 10 minutes, and everyone out on the track. Besides VSR Luis, other than that, everyone else is out on the track. And as I go to the detail for currently fitted, everyone is on the Ultra Sauce. Let's say somebody doesn't set a time on those and they switch to another combine. Do you see everyone qualifying on the Ultra Soft, or do you see at least 1 or 2 people opting to a different tire compound?
I think the super soft tire around Australia is a really decent tire. If you are going to one-stop this, you can one-stop it from these Ultras straight to softs. But the super soft tire just gives you a more consistent pace throughout the whole stint. But it'll be interesting to see what these drivers do. I definitely think this ultra soft tire is worth at least a few attempts a lap time, maybe half a second around this track. So, you know, half a second's a lot to gain in this tier. We know how close it can be in qualifying.
Yes, definitely. So, again, down to 9 minutes, and yeah, I could definitely agree with that. I was looking, because I know the Ultra Softs, again, obviously are the fastest because they're the softest compound, but you could also look at the Super Softs. They can be overlooked at most cases, down to the fact that, again, Ultra Softs are, you know, have the most grip, they're the most softest. I like running the Super Softs. I feel so much more comfortable because, I mean, at the same time, despite running so much faster on the Ultra Softs, maybe as well go around this track in, what is that, Ultra Fuel mode? I know it's a forced fuel mix that you only have in qualifying. The car just feels so unstable to me. For me, it feels unstable. I mean, I put on the Super Softs and I feel fine. Not only that, I can put up a competitive time, and maybe I could, you know, outdo these guys by going 1 less stint. That's something I like to look at, try and, you know, have some strategy entering the race. But, you know, let's just say, I mean, we are down in Australia, and obviously this area, we have seen some rain here before in the past. I know in other league races I have. Do you think rain could be a possibility today?
I definitely think so. We had it in the Pinnacle tier just now in the race. It started on full wets and it went to intermediate tires. Congratulations, by the way, to LMC Wummer, who's just won his first race at F1 TS Hub, across the line to take the flag, and also Cloudy Balloons joining him in 3rd place on the podium. So I believe that's his first podium at F1 TS Hub. So congratulations to them both. That race is just on the podium celebration. VSR Charles, he's back, and he's back in the top tier of F1 TS Hub. We know he's quick, Alan. We know what he can do. He's had a few pole positions last season before he left, so we'll keep an eye on him. Beastas leading the way at the moment, and I can also mention that Julian, on the official practice session on Thursday, he was very quick in wet and dry conditions, as was VSR Charles, who started last and finished 2nd, I believe. So, yeah, definitely a couple of drivers to watch out for here tonight.
Yes, again, I mean, I always look at the fact, again, like sometimes some other drivers show pace next week. It's sort of an off week. When I look at a race, I always look for the man who really looks like who's had the pace the entire season. That's why half the time I put my money on Beastaz for last season, because, I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, he had a lot of pace, and he really showed off with it. And, I mean, that's why the first round, when Sean won, he outbeat his teammate who really outperformed him last season and really just had a spectacular display of driving in the beginning of the season. He won the race, and it was a little bit surprising because not only that, but we also had some new drivers who were even faster. So, I mean, that's why when Sean did really well, and speaking of really well, he's actually in 3rd place right now. Only 2 ahead of him are Odoms and Beastaz, like mentioned. So, again, that's why for Sean, it was impressive from him, and for Beastaz, I wouldn't say being on pole position is impressive because half the time that's where I usually expect to see him. I mean, he's shown the pace most of the time. I think B-Says will be on the front row today unless if he makes a mistake, which is quite rare from the defending champion. As we slide down the order, I have noticed something going through. His teammate, MLA, which is Sean's teammate, has not set a lap time yet. Only 4 have not, being MLA, Luis, Switchy, and Charles. And Charles is actually in the process of setting one. So that would go down to actually now 2 drivers who have not set a lap time. But yeah, I mean, where do you think MLA or Luis or Charles since that lap count? Where do you think they'll stand up on the grid?
I reckon MLA will be around top 5. I think Louis will be right up there, top 3. As will Charles, he'll be challenging for the top 5 as well. So it's so hard to choose, Alan. We know how close this field can get. And Odems as well, you know, he was in hospital on Thursday night. He's here racing on Friday night, so it just shows you what a strong character he is. And he was called into the drivers' press conference as well, so he's yeah, no problem, Alan. And yeah, it's looking pretty interesting so far. It's 1/10. The top 2 are separated by the entire top 10 are separated by under a second. So one small mistake, and it can definitely cost you here. But yeah, Louis, I reckon he'll be right up there challenging in on his return. Of course, VSR Charles got his first. Oh, as he goes wide, that's going to cost him big time. That's this lap ruined. He got his first pole position in his first race at F1 TS Hub in Season 10 here. Unfortunately, the race didn't go as planned after an incident with MLA in the first sector. But yeah, nevertheless, it's looking pretty tasty up there as he comes into the pits. Frustrated, I'm sure he'll be frustrated that he ruined that lap.
Yes, I mean, I'd especially be upset too if that obviously, you're on a flight, you set everything up, a couple minutes of anticipation, going to set up, lower the fuel mix, on the right set of tires, and you only have 4 minutes right now to do it, and you're really on a timestamp. If you mess up your first lap, well, it's okay, you do have a flat spot on your tire if you lock up, but if you don't, really, you can just get the car going around again, put it in lean until you start your next lap. Hopefully you have enough fuel, because you didn't lower the fuel mix of that car. So really, you just have to remember to have just enough fuel, because I like to lower it to the point where I'd have just enough, you know, fuel for 2 laps, because back then in league racing, I'd lower it down to 1 lap, you know, and then it would be 5 minutes up to qualifying, and then on my way back to the pits, I'd run out of fuel, and by the time I got there, qualifying would be over. So really, you want to fuel these cars just around maybe 2 laps or so, you know, just for insurance. That's why you have a second lap there, just in case you make a mistake. So for many of these drivers, they need some clean laps, or else you're going to have to resort to that second lap, which is not going to be as good as your first one, but maybe going to take out a couple of tenths in that one. So yeah, that's why he was upset. But 3 minutes remaining, B-Saz on the front row with Odoms, and the gap that divides them, I can see as all joints apart, the gap, and it's actually blocking the gap. Hold on. Okay, 1/10 between Odoms and B-Saz, and apologize for just stopping for a second. It blocked part of the thing on the left-hand side, but nice to see you all. Hopefully you're not tired from, I believe, was it Pinnacle tier commentating? Fantastic race.
Yes, it was absolutely fantastic to race. I think the weather caught us off guard a bit, but I hope there was enough action for everyone who was watching, and hope everyone enjoyed.
Yeah, it definitely looked a good race. Wummer taking his first win at F1 TS Hub, and Heskey just pops it into top 5, so we can see top 10, as I mentioned, separated by under a second at the moment. We're still waiting for MLA, VSR Louis, VSR Charles to complete a lap time. Louis is just about to start his. He's got someone exiting the pits, but thankfully they get out the way. And here he goes, the Williams driver. We'll see what he can do here tonight.
Yep, with 2 minutes remaining, he's going to have to set a good flying lap time. Just again, I want to go through the drivers, because a lot of drivers have a chance. I remember every time we highlight in qualifying, top 10 are always within a second, maybe less. I remember one time it was within half a second, but I'm just going to go through right now. Top 10, 9/10, and of course to go to the top 5, that is 6/10. And more importantly, the top 3 is only 4/10. But those are all Baker laps, not much important. All of them on the Ultra Soft, so they're all on the same compound. No one really has an advantage, but within 1.5 minutes remaining, B-Saz and Odoms are the favorites for the front row. And I do sound like Captain Obvious, mainly just because they stand on the front row. But not only that, but they do sort of have a motivation booster knowing that, well, I mean, just from these laps, it looks like they have a good time setting up. And speaking of a good time, the Teskey time, a nice time indeed. 3rd place, 2/10 off of BSAS, but I will say that was a flying lap time, and for BSAS, that 1:21.1 was only a banker lap, so just goes to show that despite pushing, BSAS does have the pace, and I will point out, some of these drivers may pass a Teskey time. I mean, and once I said it, it did happen. Luis goes by a Teskey time for 3rd place. Finally set a lap time. 2 guys yet to set one, MLA and Charles, and they are coming down to a last-minute qualifying position, meaning that they'll have one single lap to do it, and that means you cannot crack under pressure, or else you are starting in the back. That is very crucial for many of these drivers. BSAS cannot improve his lap time. He either invalidates it and pulls off to the side, so that'll give the advantage back to Odoms, who actually is just flying now through the 2 kinks there. I believe part of turn 12. MLA retires, though he cannot improve. 8 seconds remaining, and Odoms pushing as much as he can out of that car. He just wants to get pole position. It's been a long time since he's gotten pole, or at least a fantastic position to start in. But with 2.5 minutes left, can he get the best possible starting position on the grid? He'll cross the line, and it will be close enough to grab him more than 3/10. That was fantastic into the 120s for Odoms. Can anyone top his time?
Everyone's on a quick lap, and you got Heskey Time, who did 2 laps on his tires, so he's done and dusted for this one. I can let you know Sean and Switchy are going to be the last 2 drivers to cross the line. We got Charles, who's on his one and only flying lap right now, and MLA, what happened? He looks like he could be starting last. Sean's retired, so Sean's made a mistake, and what's happened to him is he just pulled it off the track. So both Ferrari drivers struggling to get a clean lap. At least Sean was able to do a banker. But what can Charles do? Currently down in 14th place. Is this going to be enough? Odoms, though, man, oh man, 3/10 quicker than Beasthouse. What a lap from him. And you ever wonder, is he ill, or is he just on some sort of medication? He now steals pole position by half a tenth. Julian goes 4th too.
Lap time. Yeah, I was going to point out, Charles got pole here last season, I believe. Either BSAS or him. I know they qualified up in the front, on the front row. Both of them did as their teammates last season. So not surprised by the performance. It's one of Charles's better tracks on the schedule, so expect him to be running up in the front. Like I said, 2nd is Odoms. He's already done with his lap time, and that basically does round out the grid. Everyone else running out of fuel as they have passed the line. That is good, because they got the most out of the car, not only trying to push out on the racetrack, but also trying to get as much fuel out of the car as possible to try and run it as empty as possible to go as fast as possible. But 14 drivers, like we said, MLA did not set a lap time, and BSAS retired early after he could not improve his lap time in Albert Park. It's going to be very hard for MLA to come back after this, but I feel like if he's able to finish it in the top 5 for sure, that was a fantastic effort of what could have been in today's Grand Prix. But we have yet to start the race, so we will see. Teskey Time is in the pits. We're just waiting for him to retire from the session, and I think we'll be good with 45 seconds remaining. So, quick rundown. Who surprised you most out of qualifying today?
I'll start with you, mate.
I would like to say Twitchy. I don't think he's probably performed as best that he can do in the qualifying sessions of the previous Grand Prix, but yeah, good solid 5th position for him, and hopefully a good race result.
VSR Charles, Odins, Bisas, Julian, Switchy, Louis, Is Heskey Time, Sean, Mally, Malloy, James Slater, Kian, 10th Fear and MLA round out the entire grid. The whole field, 13 of them who said lap time, are separated by 1.2 seconds. So it just shows you how competitive this tier is. MLA, of course, wasn't able to set a lap time, so he'll start last. From 11th down, they'll have the free tire choice. Alan, VSR Charles stole pole position.
Yup, and I was quite surprised with it. I mean, that lap time was just flying. I honestly thought Odoms was on the edge of pushing the limits. He could have went beyond the limits. I'm just going to say, because he's running on the pad compared to Charles, who's on the wheel. But most likely, I was looking at it, and oh, we see rain. It's going to be interesting. But back to what I was saying earlier. Yeah, I was surprised with Odoms because he's running on the pad. If you can't really get much out of the pads at the time he displayed, it was fantastic. Charles, it surprised me and didn't surprise me that he beat the lap time. It didn't surprise me because he's a wheel user compared to Odoms, who's on the pad, but at the same time, I was also pointing out because he came out of nowhere because his lap time originally in the Banker laps was outside of the top 10. Next thing you know, just slides right up to the top within the last minute of qualifying. So again, not surprised with that as well because that's when many fast laps come in. But for the race, all the people, luckily they all started on the ultra soft tires, so nobody went for strategy. But looks like they'll have all the compounds used for them originally because, like I said, they all qualified on the same ones, so they should all have the same tires in the pits if they, desire to make an extra pit stop. But again, Charles Odoms on the front row, all on intermediates, luckily. Actually, unluckily, because I'd like to see a race where they're on slick tires and wet conditions. I wish one day. We almost saw that, Nick, a couple rounds ago.
Yeah, we did, yeah, and it'd be good to see the top boys try and sort that one out. But yeah, as you mentioned, everyone on intermediate tires. I wonder if it's going to get wetter or if it's going to get drier. Perhaps one of the drivers who are racing can let us know in the comments on the stream. Hello to everyone watching. This is the Prestige tier, the top tier F1 TS Hub. You're joined for commentary throughout this race from myself, Alan, and Ols. Ols, of course, racing in the Pinnacle tier earlier on tonight. And Australia, it's always puts on a good show. We had a working safety car in the podium tier as well. No glitch, a full-on working safety car. So that's a surprise. So all round, it's been a good night for the league, and hopefully these 14 drivers can definitely put on a good show for us. If it does come up disqualified, it is only from the formation lap. Ols, just quickly before we hand over to Alan for the race start. Looking at the grid, how excited are you? Who do you think's going to be able to take the fight and put on a good show for us here tonight?
I'm really looking forward to seeing how MLA does, trying to fight through the field. Australia is known for being really, really difficult to overtake, so it would be really, really interesting to see how MLA does. And I think anyone from the top 5 possibly could win the race. I'm not going to say who at the moment, but I'm quite interested with the top 5.
I mean, I'm gonna have to say Charles. I mean, obviously with the advantage on with the rain, it goes down to the wheel users by far, and Odoms again. I mean, I know Odoms. I'm also friends with Odoms and Charles. I know both of them. I know that what they race on, what their good tracks on, the conditions they like. I've known Charles for a year or two, and something he's told me is that he loves the rain conditions with how the car handles and with the wheel. He's recently told me, so I honestly have a lot of confidence in Charles. And if you want to look for a guy who's going to set fast laps, I'd put your eyes on him. So here we go, the 5 red lights in Albert Park. They'll fill them up and work rain with Odoms and Charles on the front row. Mercedes and Red Bull, who has the advantage? And already a good start from Charles, fending off both Odoms and Beast has behind him and leading through the first turn and already making contact. That's Julian and Beast has back in 3rd and 4th place. Falling back, Luis falls into 4th as they're already 2 and almost 3 wide. Toro Rosso against what it is of Julian. Julian trying to get in the mix. There's a Sauber that almost runs off the track. 2 wide. Look at this pack racing. This is really close. Luckily no one's gone off yet. MLA already gained a position off of 10th here. And going through the grid back to single file, and that was Sean who had a little tank slapper from the back end. He's still in P8 as it stands right now, holding up Malley and Malloy, who he didn't make a good block on. But we'll go up to the grid, and actually, there's some contact. 10th here gets by, now he's in the grass. And MLA gets back to position, and keeping it clean there, VSR Luis against Julian. And is able to clear him off the outside part of the track. Oh, and there's a yellow. Is that, who is that?
Contact between 10th here. MLA went onto the grass with the Renault, come back onto the track. 10th here comes around the corner minding his own business, and he's got a red Ferrari right in front of him. It's only left end plate damage, but it's going to affect, especially in these conditions. 10th here surely is going to have to pit, as is MLA. And both drivers, you have to say, caught up in that incident. MLA hasn't had the best of races, but other than that was a very clean start. There wasn't too many position changes.
Husky time, he's gone off the track in these very trick conditions, and he almost does it again. Do you think? I think he has to. Yeah, he's pitting. He has some either damage or just something wrong with his eye. I have no clue.
Front left.
He almost spins it.
Front left wing damage for Heskey.
And a 5-second stop-go penalty. Could have slowed it down a lot earlier. What about Tempfear? Gets it slowed down. MLA. Not taking any risks. He's just slightly going in. So I did jinx it in the beginning. I did say everyone gets through cleanly, and that's surprising. Next sector, and already have 3 wrecked race cars, so that is a little bit of a misfortune. So 11 guys left who have not been in incidents that are still out on the track. And James Slater stands in 11. He must have gotten lucky from that. He's only 1 position away from points, but as it stands right now, he still needs a lot of work to do if he still wants points out of this race, considering the fact that go through the field. He's almost 4 seconds behind Kian, but at the same time, Kian's internet not the best. There's a good chance he could lag out of the session. It has happened before, and I do remember that. So I want to point out everything from my past experience from last season in F1 TSL. I'm trying to get everything. But yeah, Charles, again, he showed phenomenal pace here last season. So, again, that's one of the other reasons why I say keep your eyes on him. Speaking keep your eyes on, Sean moving up to P6. That was a good move against Switchy. And I remember, Alls, you said you were impressed with Switchy in qualifying. And ever since then, if I turn on the detail for where they started, he's dropped 2 positions.
Yes.
And, yeah, I was going to say, I'm honestly going to say this, but, just a little tank slapper there, but for Switchy, he obviously likes the conditions drier than wet. It's a lot more trickier than for him than anyone else out on the track from what we've seen so far. And actually no contact whatsoever. He's fallen back 2 positions and actually has gained on Sean, since Sean ran wide in turn 1. But for Switchy, do you think he's going to figure it out and start gaining some positions back, or do you think he's just going to stay where he is?
I think it's going to be more damage limitation. He's clearly struggling in these conditions, so I think he's going to wait it out, and then as soon as it becomes drier, where the conditions that he likes, hopefully then he can make up the time which he's lost. But he's definitely struggling in the wet conditions.
Couple things I'd like to point out, guys. Odem's dropped a position to BSAS, so BSAS is up to 2nd. Charles has a good 2-second lead at the moment over him, and we can see that VSR Louis is all over the back of Julian, who's currently in 4th position. Yeah, Mally tried to go down the inside into turn 3 on the opening lap of Sean. Opportunistic move. Sean had to give him room. But yeah, I spoke to Sean earlier on, and he was looking forward. He said, I hoped it's wet. So we'll keep an eye on the Ferrari as MLA. Yeah, poor race for him so far. They're quite a way off the back of the pack after those opening incidents.
It's looking like VSR Louis is trying to make a move on Julian, but he backed out.
Yeah, just gets so close to the back end. I mean, for these types of conditions, you have to be a lot more careful and cautious, mainly just due to the fact that the lockups are so deadly here compared to when you're running on slicks and dry conditions. Mainly just down to the fact that sometimes you can tap the brake, and honestly, it's just not even down to the fact of how much pressure you put. You can just tap it, and you can lock up running the guy in front of you. So to be running this close behind the Toro Rosso driver of Julian for, what is it, a lap or 2, he tries to find a way around the outside without locking up. Good job, kudos to him. That was a good move, but just couldn't find any space to fit in. But for Julian, I would start looking in those mirrors, because next thing you know, he could do a little sneak attack move down the inside, but that's if he's really close enough. But for, again, anyone that sees behind a car this long in these conditions, just make sure you're not locking up, and you should be good. Because, again, lockups are quite frequent in these conditions. I did see him move back down in 12th and 13th. Was it? Yeah, I did see him. Thought I saw him move down there. Must have been between Tempfear and Hiteski time, but the gap has already been 1.5 seconds, so I'm not sure if one made a mistake. I don't know.
Yeah, Heskey dropped a position there, so Tempfear is up. And interestingly, these guys are going to hope it doesn't dry out too soon, because if it does, then there'll be a whole pit stop behind. But it is looking like the rain is perhaps drying up slightly on my view, but I could be wrong. Malloy now closing in on Switchy as well, so You drove in the intermediate conditions, I believe, Ols, earlier in the Pinnacle tier. How did it feel around this track? Was it greasy, slippery?
The intermediates were definitely better than the full wets. I think when we started, we were on full wets, and it was like being on an ice rink at one point. But as soon as it changed into intermediate conditions, it was definitely better to push and to probably push the limits a bit more. But yeah, intermediates they were a good tyre.
Yeah, I'm just looking now, and I am starting to see some blue patches in the sky, but we are far from over until the rain stops. But do you think there's a possibility we may see the rain stop? Nick, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I definitely think it is going to stop. And the problem, you know, VSR Charles, he's leading at the moment. He's got the most to lose, you know. So we've seen it before in changing conditions. The guy in front, he doesn't have any reference to go by. So unless one of the back markers pits and he sees them light up the timing screen, he's got to be kind of, you know, he's got to be the one to feel the conditions and try and make the call. But VSR Charles right on, VSR Louis right on the back of Julian at the moment, who I did say, Julian, didn't I, that he was good round Australia in the practice session, and he's true to that. He's running in 4th position in the Toro Rosso now, and Kian closing in on Mali as well under a second. So I don't think it'll be too long before you'll see these drivers come in. But round Australia, if you make the wrong call, this track is always, me when I've raced it, I've always found it very greasy, very tricky, and with the grass either side of the circuit, it's not just a case of use the runoff area. It's going to be close contact with the wall if you go wide. Look at BSAS closing in on VSR Charles.
I have started to realize that, and again, I feel BSAS just got a better qualifying time in qualifying. He could have pulled away from Charles at the start. Let's say if he did out qualify him, and it was him that was on the front row or on the pole. But yeah, he worked his way around Odoms, and now he's working his way up to Charles in that last sector. He just gained 2 tenths alone compared to Charles, who originally was the fastest man on the track. So keep your eyes out for an eventual battle between the two. And let's just say if there's a fray that does happen between the two, watch out, because Odoms is pulling out his pair of binoculars and trying to make sure that nothing happens with the two up in front. And if they do, he's going to take full advantage of. I was going to point out with these tires, I'm not too familiar with the intermediates here in Australia. Are they supposed to be pitting? Because I'm not exactly sure. And let's say the rain does last till the end of the race. Are they planning on pitting midway through for another set of intermediates? Because eventually locking up and running on that track for too long is just going to put, you know, an excessive amount of wear on those intermediates.
I think it'll be a one-stop, don't you, Ols?
Yeah, definitely. I think we ran about possibly 10 laps. I think you can get 15 if you push it. But yeah, you can go in quite deep into the race on the one set of intermediates, just depending on whether you've been running rich mixture as well. But yeah, definitely the one stop.
I think you'll see drivers in with the next couple laps to pit for dry tyres. It really doesn't look that wet to me, but of course I'm not on the racetrack trying to get the car around in these tricky conditions. As look at this challenge for the lead, BSAS versus VSR Charles. BSAS goes down the inside. Ooh. Charles is now going to have the inside for the next corner. Can BSAS hold it around the outside? He does indeed, and goes ahead. VSR Charles crashed out of here in season 10 at that corner right there with MLA, but he makes it round this time, and BSAS takes the lead. Defending champion Alan showing us what he's made of here tonight.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, different time, same place, a little a coincidence for Charles just getting passed by his former teammate last season, where he crashed out last season. So everything coming back to him now. Differences, conditions are different. That's about it. Other than that, BSAS takes the lead over something we expected. And yep, I am starting to see the sun shine down on Albert Park, and we should start to see some dry racing midway through this race. My predictions are usually wrong, but in my opinion, I think the rain should stop maybe around lap 13, lap 14. Take a couple more laps of the track to get dry. So at least someone in this field will try and extend those tires. Someone will gamble, and a couple more people, let's say, will be pitting the next couple of laps because they're trying to set it up. Because I think Jeff has told them rain should stop in 5 to 10 minutes, something like that. And right now they're trying to plan in their heads when they should pit either for slick tires or maybe those intermediate tires that are dreaded right now. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm just trying to think in a driver's mind right now. Well, what would you do if you were in Beast has his shoes right now?
I'd probably crash because crash under the pressure. But no, if I was in Bisas's shoes, I'd be racing in as many leagues as possible because he's a driver who he's very quick and he's got many championships. And yeah, he's slightly pulling away from VSR Charles. He's just so good at this game, and there's no other way to describe it. But look how close all the field is. It's great to see them all so close, and it's not. I think it's not that easy to complete a pass here. As VSR Louis is finding out behind Julian, still stuck there. Sean as well has come to join the party, and yeah, it's proving not the easiest place to overtake. But yeah, nevertheless, these guys are putting on a good show for us, and it just looks dry to me. Not dry, but it just looks like surely someone's going to gamble it. But perhaps the intermediate conditions are what's suited best to this tire. And yeah, VSR Louis so close to that Toro Rosso. Julian doing a good job of defending here though. Oz.
Yeah, he's doing really well. He's new to this league, so he's getting the layout of how people are racing, and he's doing really well at that. Oh, and Louis goes into pit. But yeah, he's doing really well, and hopefully he'll score some really good points here.
Alan, dry tyres, do you reckon?
Possibly. It's going to be a gamble for Luis, but right now at this point, oh no, another set of intermediates.
Ooh, that is a really bold call there. That's really bold.
Unless these drivers know that the race is scheduled to rain for the entire race, then you're right, that is a gamble. If this rain stops on, say, around lap 20 when you're 2/3 complete, then what he's doing now is he's getting the maximum undercut on those intermediate tyres, because no one, I don't think, would be able to take him to lap 20. But if it starts raining within the next few laps, then he's lost out definitely. But he's come out behind his teammate. Temp Fear coming into the pits. He gets a 5-second stop go, just couldn't slow the car down. I believe this is going to be dry tyres for, yeah, this is dry tyres for the Mercedes van. So Exhesky time in as well. These guys are gambling it, but when you're outside the points like this, what do you have to lose?
Exactly. That it could be the right call, and you can see yourself shooting right up the order. So
Heskey serving a penalty too.
Take place.
5-second stop go penalty he served in that pit stop.
Field. It's still coming down, but the track is starting to dry, obviously, with less and less rain. But as we go through the field, Beast has still leading. He comes into the pits. Charles comes into the pits, and so does Odoms. And so does Julian and Sean. Switchy probably, I don't know.
So Louis, do you think Louis accidentally selected the wrong compound? He actually meant to come in and put dries, because surely an experienced driver like himself, he wouldn't make that mistake when all these guys are coming in for dries. And he's going on, yeah, is he going to pit again? He is. So guys, he made the wrong call. He forgot to either change it or just, you know, gambled the wrong way. But Switchy choosing the supers, by the way. Everyone else going on to the softs. They'll be able to take the softs to the end, of course.
I
stacking
did point
too.
Out that, yeah. Oh yeah, Switchy on the super softs. For everyone else in the softs, I was gonna point out my predictions are usually wrong, and I said the rain would stop on lap 13 and stopped at lap 9, so I'm many laps off. Don't rely on me on predictions for this league, because I'm never right. I'm never right when it comes to predictions. But yeah, Charles back in second. The gap is actually gone up by a ton, so I'm not sure if Charles got held up in the pits, because the gap's already up to 4 seconds between the two. Yeah,
definitely. Maybe Visas just getting a lightning outlap, but yeah, don't give up commentating and become a weatherman, Alan, because you wouldn't have too many happy fans as you do now. And yeah, it's James Slater and Switchy choosing the supers, so you have to say there'll be 2 stopping. Everyone else will be going to the end of on those softs, providing no course, incidents, damages, or punctures. But interesting from Switchy and James Slater there. What can they do from that different strategy? I think 19 laps on the Supers is too much to ask around Australia.
I think it's going to be really, really difficult. I think for the super soft runners to take those tyres to the end, but they might think what they got to lose. In Switchy's case, he may do a 2-stop, but for James Slater, he might just be going for the gamble and seeing how far you can take them.
I mean, I'm just looking. I'm seeing soft, super soft, super soft, super soft. So I mean, the ratio from super softs to softs should be 2 to 12. Yeah, that goes out up to 14. I'm correct for once. Yeah, 2 to 12, with super softs being the 2. It does beg the question. It's sort of like the question I asked Nick in qualifying with everyone else being on the ultra softs. So there's someone going to be on someone going on the super softs. Nick said the tires for super softs compared to the ultras were still really good, and now that everyone else is on softs and they're on super softs, do you think Switchy and James Slater, they're going to gain track advantage from this towards the end of the race? Because I mean, like you said, they're not going to go. I'm not sure they're going to go all the way on those tires, considering the fact that this track is already damaged with the rain, with many puddles. And it's not going to help the case of trying to preserve those tires. Do you think they're going to try and make it to the end, or does everyone else have to stop again?
No, I reckon all the soft runners will go to the end of this race. They might just have to run a little bit of lean and a few careful laps, but other than that, I think they'll be fine. But yeah, the super soft runners taking 19 laps is a big ask, and I think they'll do well to recover from this strategy. But hey, could be wrong. As you were working out the maths there, Alan, it reminded me of when we were trying to work out the maths in Brazil when Beast has won the championship. And whilst you're live on air, it isn't the easiest thing to do, but well done for that one. And of course, thank you for everyone watching. This is our top tier, this is our prestige tier. Every Friday night at 9 PM is when they race, and we can see Kian's got a poor exit and he's under attack from Malloy into turn 1. Always talk us through this one.
Yes, Malloy has gone in the inside into turn 1, and it looks like he's got it stuck. But yeah, Kian too far back now to attack, and I do believe that Malloy would have had DRS as well, so good move by Malloy. But to note, Kian seems to be having an okay race. He's yet to score points, so if he stays where he is, he'll get his first points of the season, and deservedly so.
And no lag either, Alan.
I was going to point out no lag. I'm also wrong about that one as well. Of course I am. So Kian not lagging, and I am wrong about that, like I said. But goes to the field, I think one thing I am right about was that Charles did pull away from Odoms in the conditions, but it's also wrong that Charles is a man to beat. Because Beast has now leads, and that is by 4 seconds, and starting to put up some fast laps. Think anyone can top him?
I think it'll be difficult too, but I'm sure people will have a good go.
They definitely will.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, Alan, this is the top tier, and who do you reckon is going to have a good go? Who do you reckon's got the most chance to push it?
Honestly.
Oh, there we go. Well, as we were speaking, Luis has just put on the fastest lap of 1:29.6, I think it was. So as the track gets drier and quicker, I think it could be Charles, could be Odems, or one of the super soft runners.
I was going to point out, the reason why I originally asked the question was because despite the track getting faster and faster and less wet, it was always Beast has the one that always set the fastest lap time. He'd always come around, set the time, and no one else could conquer it. So, mainly because he would always be the first one to finish their lap time out, with the conditions how they are. So that's why I asked, mainly because there are 2 other people on the track that are on, actually now 3 people on the track that are now on softs, the compounds and the softs. I'm about to run out of voice for a second. Okay, I'm good. So it's Heskey Town has moved to the super soft tires. Not sure if he served another penalty. He was in there for quite a while.
I believe he did.
Yeah, he's retired from the session as well.
Yeah, so Heskey calling it a day in the Sauber. Hasn't had the best of races. Good qualifying from him though, so it just shows he did have pace around this track, and he hasn't been able to transfer that into a good points haul. Just to point out as well, yellow flags in Sector 1. Kian is holding on to the back of Malloy, so since Malloy got past, he hasn't been able to pull away from the Williams driver. Of course, the defending champion from the podium tier for last season is Kian, and you can see Heskey safely off the track and disappears, teleports his car back to the pits. Like to know how he done that. Hello to everyone watching. As I said, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube, and of course on Boss Boxes and Clint's Gaming you can get a discount using the code at F1TSHub. So for all your gaming accessories you can head over and check those guys out. But a good race here, and Top Boys, Alan showing us how they do it around Albert Park.
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, with the rain, it just really looked like down to, the best driver who could survive the conditions. Now it's really just down to who can, apply the most pressure. Some people are in the midfield like Kian, there's Luis, there's Malloy, really close to each other. Then there's guys up in front who can really, who can really withstand the pressure that everyone's been given. I mean, us commentators, we give the drivers some pressure, the people watching, maybe if either one of them is streaming, imagine the people watching, that can be some pressure. Sean, 3-second penalty in 5th place, and that is possibly for turn 1 for exceeding the track limits, because he has done that in the past in this race. And I'm just looking at the gaps, and the only person really close is Kian to Malloy. That's about it. 15 laps in, we're more than halfway through. If there's are there any things that you guys are surprised about? Because I asked you the same question in qualifying. What things are you surprised about so far? Nick, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, Kian's holding on, so it shows he's got good pace in that Williams. He's been caught by his teammate VSR Louis, so be interesting to see whether there'll be any team orders within that one. Louis obviously made the mistake, that surprised me. Obviously he's done that extra stop, so that's almost put him out of contention. But he'll regret that mistake. Other than that, nothing too much surprising. Odems is doing a good job in 3rd, so if he can keep that up, he'll be on for a good podium position. Sean, top 5. I'd expect him to try and close that gap to Julian if he can. But look at the biggest MLA. 13th last placed of our remaining runners, and he's had a disappointing day here in Albert Park. I know he put in some practice for this one, but you have to say, he's not performing to what is usually high standards, and 10th here as well. He's been so unlucky since his return to F1 TS Hub. Of course, he dominated season 5, winner of every race in that season. I believe there were 8 races, and he took the win, full points on all of them. So he just needs a clean race. He has shown some glimpses of real good pace and stuff. So we'll hopefully see him in the future races really show us why he was a former champion. But other than that, the race is settling in nicely. Lap 16 out of 29. Ols, any surprises for you?
I'm just really pleased of how Julian's doing his defending. He's showing how good of a defensive driver he is, and also how Tempfear and MLA, they've had the first couple of laps of incidences, and I think had that not have happened, we might have had some really, really good performances going through the field. But yeah. Apart from that, it's been a really, really good race, and I can't wait to see how it finishes. And VSR Louis looks like he's pulling up. Oh, there's team orders there as he goes past Kian.
I said there might be, didn't I?
Yeah, and there was. So yeah, apart from those, it's been a really, really good race, and yeah, it's been fun to watch.
Yeah, I really have enjoyed the race. I mean, the saying that I always like to bring up in racing when I commentate is, if you go by the race so quickly, if you finish the race quicker than a blink of an eye, then you enjoyed it. Even if you don't admit it, you enjoyed it. You enjoy the racing. For me, we're already 17 laps in. I felt like, last time I spoke, I just called off the lights and we're going in, stormy conditions. But, 17, almost 18 laps in, more than halfway through this race. I should be coming to 12 laps to go. BSAS ahead of Charles. Gap has come down by half a second. I don't think that's, good enough to reel in BSAS for the lead, unless if Charles can catch out BSAS a mistake, and BSAS doesn't make too many mistakes. Do you think BSAS will be able to hang on till the end? Because also you have to remember, pit stop phase, again, they cannot make it to the end on these tires. They have to pit once more. Do you think this time maybe BSAS could get, held up in the pits, or could it be Vias or Charles once again? Or do you think pit stop phases, could affect the gap between these drivers at all?
Well, we saw it in the first stint that BSAS was able to, get a bit of a lead, as Tempfear and Malloy both get a 3-second time penalty. So I think that's Sean, Odems, and those two so far to get one. But I don't think anyone on this soft tire will be pitting again. I think they'll take these to the end of the race. And 19 laps, 20 laps that'll be on those tires. So they'll be a bit frisky near the end with the acceleration. But I reckon they'll go to the end, and I reckon BSAS has got this one in the bag. Interestingly enough, Odems is closing in on VSR Charles, and Switchy, although he's on the quicker tire, he isn't really able to close in on Sean. So be interesting to see what him and James Slater do from those super softs. But Malloy's just closing in on Mally as well. They've both had a bit of a quiet race, so we'll keep an eye on that battle. But Alan, one thing I want to ask you, what did you make of that team orders between the Williams? Was that the right thing to do?
Team orders and team orders, they're just trying to benefit the team. For me, I don't really care. I could care less about team orders. But speaking about the team, a team driver's into the pits, and it is VSR Charles when, or not Charles, Charles, and he pits Odems, who's just reeling him in, and all of a sudden,
he's got ultra softs.
He's gonna make a call to the ultra softs and a 5-second stop go.
That's disappointing.
Right now.
No, he's left the session. So what's happened there? That wasn't a 5-second, because I believe they do that before they work on your car. So he's come into the pits, and I think he's left the session. So he's running in second place. What on earth has happened? Is he had to make an emergency run from his TV? But wow, that's it's disappointing for VSR Charles. He was doing so well. Malloy and Mally, by the way, are just going side by side. Look at this VSR. Louis now goes around the outside of Mally. Is he able to do it? No, Mally holds it in the McLaren, and now they're under attacking Malloy again. So Malloy lets Mally back through. It looked like close. Wing damage.
Yeah, wing damage between the two. It's just getting a little frisky. Not sure if they can keep it clean. Defending dangerously is Malloy. Actually, wrong word choice by me. More aggressively than dangerous. There's a good difference between that word choice, but Charles and now James Slater are getting passed between each other. And again, holding off is Malloy against Luis. And Malloy putting up a good fight to the point where now Kean is gaining on Luis. Switchy with a 3-second penalty. And now Luis, he's trying to find a lane to the inside, just sliding through. Almost making contact. I think they almost did. And now Kean goes by. I honestly thought that was Malloy for a second, but two teammates going at it now. She just got caught off guard.
Yeah, definitely. Another aspect is, will Malloy pit to change the front wing? Because as those tyres degrade and lose grip, that front wing damage will definitely come into play.
Another team order there as Kian lets Louis back through. So Kian playing the supporting role here tonight. Obviously VSR Louis, he's out of position based on that mistake earlier on. But yeah, Odim's up into second, Julian up into the podium scoring position. So that's pretty exciting as well. And Mally in sixth position as well. I think he's doing a good job. And obviously BSAS, if he takes the win, he needs a driver like Mally to score decent points haul for the McLaren team. He wasn't able to win the title constructors wise in his championship winning season for the drivers. But Alan, knowing BSAS as well as you do, in terms of you've seen him race a lot on track, he'll want that constructors title as well as the drivers title this season.
Yeah, it just goes down to confidence level to me. I mean, when you have that much credibility behind you, you really have that much confidence. And now looking back with 8th place again, just, oh my goodness me, can't believe they have not crashed yet. Coming to 9 laps to go, and Malloy still leading the 2 Williams cars. And they're all on soft tires. And again, just these drivers are looking for a move. Yeah, last lap, Luis went by Kian, and now Luis may go by Malloy. Headed into turn 1. Can he try around the outside? It's going to be close. He'll have to back out. Kian stands behind him, and he's going to squeeze into the gap off the exit of turn 1. He's going to squeeze to the outside. They'll be wheel to wheel. Kian just looking ahead. Now can Luis go around the outside? Oh, the Hawks on the move. And there goes Kian. Kian. God, can he do it? And now Malloy jumps him off the racetrack and goes by the other Williams. That's definitely going to have to be brought to the stewards after the race. 2 moves and 2 corners that have been from the 2 ever so angry Williams drivers that should have gone by in that.
You enjoyed that one, Ols,
yeah? Definitely. Yeah, definitely a good battle there, and Malloy definitely using some shady defending there, shall I say. But yeah, that was fantastic to watch, and
Malloy's struggling with that wing damage, isn't he? He's struggling. He's under attack again. So through those S's and high-speed corners, he's really struggling. I think Louis just needs to pick his moment here. He knows he's got the pace. He needs to find the inside line into a heavy braking zone, because as you see, Kian is there to pick up the pieces. There he goes. I said heavy braking zone, inside line, and Kian's going to try and go through as well. But Kian's going to get a good exit here. Look at this. You can see him lining him up. Slipstream. This is surely got to be job done. Malloy goes defensive, back to the outside. What can Kian do? Is he going to try down the inside? He does.
He's got to be careful. He's got to be careful here.
Alan Malloy keeping it just about. Nope.
Sends apart, clears him to the corner, just tries to get back, but cannot do it. Malloy falls down to 8th place, but as we go through the field, I did see Switchy put on ultra soft tires, but yeah, that battle was intense. Luckily, they got through it towards the key end of the race. And I asked you guys a question earlier in the race. I asked you, are these guys going to make it to the end on these tires? Well, we're about to cross the line for lap 23 out of 29, and BSAS has yet to show signs of wear on those tires. And top 8 have only pitted once for those soft tires. So I'm going to ask you guys again, do you think they're going to have to pit, or are they just going to, finish out on the soft tires?
I think the only driver that's going to pit again is James Slater. We saw that Temp Fear has pitted onto those ultra softs, so he'll go to the end on those. But yeah, the only driver I think that'll come in again, barring any incidents, is James Slater, unless Malloy wants to repair that wing damage. But he has a bit of a gap to Switchy, which is closing rapidly on those ultra softs. So Malloy, the sole has here today. They need some solid points. Noack isn't here tonight, and he was relying on Malloy. They got a 1-2 in Silverstone, but not the best race here for the Haas team. Williams team both move up. Keane will be happy to score some points. He just needs to keep it on the road, keep it safe. And look at that, James Slater comes into the pits. I've been pretty good at calling this one here tonight, haven't I?
Yeah, definitely. It'd be good to see whether James Slater can catch MLA now for the last point. But yeah, all the runners on the soft tyre, they're definitely going to the end, and it'll be interesting as well because you've got Switchy only 1.1 seconds behind Malloy, so there are a couple of battles that might be brewing.
I was going to say, lap 24 now out of 29. Gap has gone down between 2.4 seconds between Odoms and BSAS. Imagine if Charles never left the session, if he never had that urgency. Imagine the gap then. It'd have to be even small. Well, actually, I'm not sure, because Odoms was trying to, or at least did pass Charles as soon as he exited the game, or at least the session. So I was going to say, imagine how close he'd be. But again, Beast has not as fast as Odoms right now at Albert Park with Switchy fast lap time. Also passes Malloy, who, like we said, has been struggling. He had to cut the corner for it, though. A little dirty, but it's fine. Got by him. Lap 24 to 29. The gap is decreasing. And there are still a couple more laps left in this thing. And it's going to come down really to the final lap. And we just got to hope neither of these guys make a mistake, or at least maybe Bezos making one. Because, I mean, I don't think they're going to battle in the last lap. I think they'll be close. We just need to see a mistake from Beastaz. The next thing you know, these two will be battling to the end of the race. And actually, viewing distance, all of a sudden, to Odoms is now Beastaz. It's gone down less than 2 seconds. Last lap, it was 2.5. Man, it was incredible pace Odoms gained that last lap.
Yeah, definitely Louis all over the back of Mally. So this is for a top 5. Sean having a quiet race in 4th, to say the least, and Julian looks set for his podium. Temp Fear on the quickest tires, showing you I had this sort of pace. This is what perhaps I could have achieved had I had not had that incident with MLA. I'm sure that one might go to the steward's office. So another busy week for the stewards here. And look at this, good run from Louis. Mally goes defensive, so you ain't having the inside line into turn 1, my friend, and switches back to the racing line in order to get the best exit. Julian gets a penalty as well, so the latest driver to do so. Temp Fear moves ahead of the ghosting VSR Charles. And what can Louis do now into turn 3? Heavy braking zone. Mally just gives him enough room on the outside. And Alan, what I'd like to know is how long can that McLaren keep that Williams, who's absolutely flying, behind him?
3 more corners. I'm gonna try and get this one right this time. So there's the first corner, and we're headed up on the next one. Can he keep him behind this one? Please, just pass him in the next corner. I want to be right. He's going to try and squeeze through on the outside, down the back straightaway, and he'll try the outside in the 3rd corner. Will it work this time? He needs a ballsy move to pull it off, squeezing against the wall. It's not going to work, and I'm, of course, wrong, but again, looking up, that was really good. I think he'll pay off in the 5th corner now. Mally. Oh, he's just going to get so defenseless now, but again, backing off and being patient is Luis, waiting till the right time to make his move stick. 5th place Mally, 6th place Luis, down to the inside, almost going down to the inside. Backed out at the last second, and due to this, the man flying on the purple tires, Switchy, he's loving what he's seeing. It's making his job easy. He could potentially get a top 5 out of this race if these guys keep battling right now.
Yeah, definitely. He's licking his lips.
And actually, Luis,
as a possible 5th place could be his.
Louis gets a penalty.
The battle now.
Is that what you were going to say?
6th place. Yeah, Luis just got a 3 secs, so that means Switchy will get 6th place right now as it stands. Nobody else knows that he has a penalty though. So Switchy will try and race like he's trying to gain 2 positions in the final couple of laps. Look back with Odoms now. He's only gained 2/10 that last lap. So not what he needs to do if he wants to win this race. However, I'm not sure if either Beastaz or Odoms have penalties. I don't know. And I don't want to check because I don't want to miss anything. Just keep your eyes on Switchy, Luis, and Mally, because this is the battle that we are looking at right now. Something will happen.
Yeah, it definitely will, and we know Louis is going to have a go at some point during the race. He got that move done on Malloy earlier into last corner. He thought about doing it again there, but he's got to be careful because he's got Switchy behind, who's on the quicker tyre. And Odems does have a penalty, I believe. I could be wrong, but I'm sure I saw his name pop up. So look at that. Mally gets a poor exit now. He's really under attack from Louis. He's got DRS open, does Louis, as will Switchy. Are we going to try round the outside, Louis? Is he going to be able to get the job done? Mally tucks back in. Piece of cake, easy as you like for Louis. DRS says, here you go, here's an extra couple of points.
And Switchy as well. Switchy overtakes Mally as well.
Mally didn't fight that one, did he?
No. I don't blame him though. You just want to finish the race, get the points you need. So really, as it stands right now, just trying to hang out on the last couple of laps. 3 seconds for Temp Fear, adding insult to injury. He's already outside the top 10 in points. And coming towards the end of this race, I mean, just rather finish the race with 4 tires. And, well, he got a penalty. It could be worse. Could be worse. At least he's finishing the race, unlike its pesky time back in 14. He had a promising race today, just cannot pull it together. And the gap between Beastaz and Odoms has actually gone up between Odoms. Actually, no, never mind, it's gone down. I thought it said 1.8, but down to 1.6 now, so he has gained a 10th that last lap. Again, he needs a crucial mistake from Beastaz if he wants any chance of winning today's race. But for Odoms, time is running out if he wants to get something done. Speaking of getting something done, look behind, look at Switchy Luis. Battle for P5 with 2 laps to go. Who do you think will get the better bargain of this one?
Yeah, Louis gone from being the hunted to the hunted. Switchy looks to the inside, thinks better of it, but those ultra softs are really going to be gripping that track like no tomorrow. Penultimate lap here in Australia, Melbourne. This is the prestige tier, our top tier F1 TSL. They put on a good show so far. Kian is also attacking Mali, so Mali struggling a little bit here with pace in the closing stages of this race. Perhaps his tyre wear a little bit higher than usual. I know he's not too well, so of course we wish Mali all the best, but you know, he's still doing a decent job here tonight regardless of how he's feeling. And I believe he has a fever or something, so yeah, hopefully he's on the up. And under attack from Kian, so one Williams hunting down, the other one looking in his mirrors.
Yeah, definitely, these are going to be 2 very, very good battles to watch. And I'm sure that Louis, he's going to battle right to the end as well, as same with Mali. So let's keep our eyes on these 2 battles.
Yep, keeping our eyes on him. I mean, that's something I'd say. Yeah, you gotta, because sometimes, I like to see, yeah, keep your eyes on him. I mean, it gets pretty close, but next thing you know, sometimes I occasionally miss battles, so yeah.
Oh, Switchy!
Switchy's at the wall! Oh, I just caught that! Oh!
And I wasn't keeping my eyes on that one.
Got a tank slapper on the last corner, too much of the grass, and he hit the inside wall. Back to the outside wall is where he got his damage. He's lucky not to be missing a front tyre there. He isn't opening his DRS, and now he's going to be back under attack from Mali and Kian. So Ols, you said he was on for a good race and he was making the best of that 2-stop strategy, but yeah, he's let the 2 drivers, he just wants to finish this race, and looks like 8th is going to be the best that he can do. Beastaz meanwhile 1.2 ahead of Odoms. Alan, talk us through this as Beastaz is going to come across the line to win.
Yep, final corner. The gap came down close enough, just not close for Odoms to do anything. Beastaz takes victory, and the Australian Grand Prix in Albert Park, a 3-second penalty, secures the victory for Beastaz. Julian comes across the line for Toro Rosso. 3rd place, final podium spot. Sean, a disappointing, I would say disappointing. It's a good finish for him. 4th place, good job for Ferrari compared to where MLA finished. That'd be 1 point for him, but for 4th place, 12 points for Sean. 5th place is Luis. 6th place Mali. 7th place Kian. Unless penalties can change it, I don't think that'll be the case. 5th place will be Luis. 6th place Mali. And 7th place Kian. 8th is Switchy, limping that car home
Kian got
around
5th.
the final corner.
Kian's got,
he jumped 2 positions on penalties, so Mali and Louis must have had penalties there. And yeah, look at that, top 5, and that's what he needed. You know, keep your head up. He was down after last week, and that's what you do. If you keep your head up, put your practice in, work hard, you know, the results will come eventually. James Slater across the line 11th, and wow, exciting race, exciting finish, and Beastaz takes his 2nd win in a row.
And I'm not surprised by Beastaz with the performance we had today. Early, he showed today. But on the top step podium today is going to be Beastaz in his orange McLaren Honda. I was going to say Papaya, but that's 2018.
Alan, can I just say that McLaren have won the race in all 3 tiers tonight. So Tejwar in the podium tier was McLaren, Wama in the pinnacle tier was McLaren, and now Beastaz in the prestige tier was McLaren. So what do you make of that one?
They won all 3 races today, but they still can't win an F1 race. in the, I don't know how long it's been, 6 years. They can't win a stinking F1 race. Oh my lord. Oh. Butthurt about this one.
Run us through the results then, Alan. Couple drivers without penalties as well.
So before I lose my voice, let's do this very quickly. B says Odom, Julian, Sean. I almost stopped. Okay. B says Odom, Julian, Sean, Kian, Mally, Luis, Switchy, Malloy, MLA, James Slater, Tenfier, Valtteri Bottas, and Pascal Verlan. The 2 other drivers are going to be Charles, and it's Heskey time. And that should round out the grid. Many penalties. And Kian, again, no lag today. Just clean driving. That's what got him that top 5. Avoided all those penalties that everyone else got. And luckily squeezed into that top 5 position. And, well, I wouldn't say lucky. I'd just say well-earned and deserved. I would have to give him either B-Saz or Kian my driver of the day. What's your pick?
Kian all the way for me. Oz, what about you?
Yeah, definitely Kian. The consistency got him into 5th place, and he kept it on the track.
There you have it. Alan, I'll let you close us out here for another Friday night at F1 TS Hub.
For a Friday night in Europe and a Friday afternoon, evening in America, where I know Odoms is as well, I think that's going to do it for a whole Friday filled of racing in F1 TS Hub, from the podium to the pinnacle to the very, very top with the fastest drivers in the league. My name's Alan Cavanero. I'm alongside Alls and Nick. We'll see you back here next Friday night, providing some fantastic racing. Have a safe night, everybody. Have a safe weekend.